wheels.
Let's talk about wheels. I know. We've got 2 whole new episodes to talk about, and I want to hyperfixate on wheels? Not exactly. I also want to talk about cows. Which is why my guest today is an expert in both fields.
Professor Fisher-Price Spiekensperr.
The cow says...
I don't have a traditional review of Beef or Catfish Hunter for you here. I thought the episodes were decent. Nothing special like the white hole from last season, but also not terrible like other episodes from last season.
Science has failed me.
My only real observation about the new episodes is they felt like classic grounded Fry and Bender plots respectively. Fry is abusing his body in the pursuit of some outrageously misguided goal, which is very Fry.
Right up until my 3rd heart attack.
And honestly, it's just nice to see Bender stealing and scamming again.
Just take it. It's disgusting. I hate looking at that thing. Oh, come on. You're taking the fun out of it.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen in the Hulu episodes, but I did have quite a bit of trouble finding B-roll for this segment. I guess I just miss his passion for it.
Bender, you're stealing your own stuff.
I am.
But otherwise, they were pretty basic, inoffensive Futurama episodes. Right, thank you, my mistake, Professor Price. There's actually a bummer of an issue with Catfish Hunter. And yes, I'm talking about
The wheel.
Never heard of it.
But I want to make sure I'm framing my issue with this properly, because if you're familiar with my channel, you know I'm a bit of a stickler for Futurama's continuity. I'm essentially writing a doctorate thesis about the Futurama multiverse.
The horse says... Doctorate denied.
I mean figuratively, whatever, I don't need to explain myself to you. You know like one thing about cows, and I don't even think you're a wheel. Get out of here. What I'm saying is, I try not to take Futurama's continuity too seriously, despite the fact that I run a YouTube channel that objectively takes Futurama's continuity too seriously. But just like most conspiracy theories, it's a load of nonsense made up by some lunatic on the internet.
I don't mean to be rude, but it's kind of hard to take you seriously.
Except the Fry thing. That's the Epstein files of Futurama conspiracies. But when jokes from episodes separated by decades clash with one another, it doesn't matter. Futurama's a comedy show. It's not a documentary. Who cares if Elzar has served Hermes
Jerk beef.
even though cows were established as extinct since season 1?
Get ready for the most delicious extinct animal you've ever tasted.
I don't know. I've had cow.
And who cares if Leela has had...
Veal, please.
Well, actually, some people might have a problem with that.
I don't think anyone's here to make that claim.
I am.
That's kind of the whole point of the problem with poplars, and the actual flaw of beef. The fact that it's just a rehash of a far superior episode.
You shouldn't eat things that feel pain. Okay, we won't eat you.
And this is a total aside, but I do think it's strange that Futurama has 2 episodes about climate change and 2 episodes about eating meat, but fails to point out the link between the two at literally any point. This isn't supposed to be preachy. I mean, I eat meat myself. I'm just saying, it's crazy that they don't bring it up. I guess it's just not relevant in the future because cows are all dead and the Buggalo are on Mars, which is how you would explain all the beef references in the show if you're a lunatic on the internet like me.
You're crazy, man.
Presumably, that's just what they call Buggalo meat in the 31st century.
Man, it must take forever to brand all those cattle.
Buggalo are basically the cows of the future.
They use for everything. Meat, milk.
Are Buggalo mammals? I'm just gonna have to ignore that, but I will jot that question down for another video. The reason I'm bringing up Buggalo right now has nothing to do with their milk. It's about their meat, which looks quite a bit like a cut of steak, as long as we're not talking about the legs. Really what I'm saying is it's very odd that hot dogs aren't just made from Buggalo meat parts. Or, you know, pork, seeing as there are still plenty of pigs around.
Sorry, Grundy. I'll have to kill you later for some other reason.
I mean, he's literally planning on making sausage out of Grundy. But to be fair, pork dogs do taste different from a beef dog, and based on what the professor tells Fry, taste was the priority in creating these hot dogs.
They managed to recreate the flavor perfectly, but they never got the coefficient of friction quite right.
Regardless, while I think it might have made more sense for the hot dogs to be made from Buggalo meat, it's certainly funnier to clone cows like they're dinosaurs from
Jurassic Park.
And I'm belaboring this point because I don't want my beef with Catfish Hunter to come off as petty nitpicking, because I am legitimately disappointed about the wheels in the episode.
I'll deploy the wheels.
Not all the wheels. In fact, I actually quite liked the deploy the wheels bit. I don't even mind that the corrupt county sheriff is driving an old car with wheels so that they can do the whole bridges out thing. Even though they've already done a better version with an actual Futurama twist.
This is a hover bridge!
And I forgot this isn't a hover car.
Is any of that a problem?
Not if you've lived a life without regret.
There were wheels in that episode as well. I'm not saying that wheels are inherently a problem when they show up in Futurama, even though the technology was supposedly lost to time.
Show us the wheel.
That sequence can't change the fact that there are literally wheels everywhere in the future. In fact, we see some as early as the second episode with the moon buggy.
Crank up the radio.
We're wheelers on them!
That directly conflicts with the crew's unfamiliarity with wheels in episodes like Mother's Day and The Honking.
They crept along the ground on round rubber feet, like a wolf!
Does it matter? No. It's like cows, beef, and Bugalo. Robots like Fender have wheels, Bender gets wheelchair wheels.
We clickety-clackers!
Who cares? And if you do care, Professor Farnsworth has been exposed to wheels enough times, it actually makes total sense for the Planet Express ship to have a set of tires. We can even take that lunatic thing further and explain why the sheriff and his orangutan have tires. Because one thing we do know about wheels is...
Ruth Gordon had one.
Meaning we can only assume that Ruth Gordon gave those wheels to Manus the orangutan when they were on set together in the movie Every Which Way But Loose. Deputy Fiddle is likely the descendant of Manus and inherited the wheels, as is his birthright.
You folks are calling me every which way but loose.
This is the most likely scenario. Even though Manus isn't the only orangutan Ruth had the opportunity to meet. Manus had aged out of the role by the time the sequel, Any Which Way You Can, was filming, so he was replaced by a younger ape, Buddha. Tragically, Buddha died during the production of the movie, and it would be remiss of me not to address the reasons given the discussion of animal suffering in beef. So, skip ahead if you don't want to hear about...
It's an orangutan! One of Mother Earth's most precious creatures!
Being beaten to death with an axe handle by his trainers for stealing donuts from craft services. Fuck. One, you can't leave donuts around literally any primate, Homo sapiens included, and expect any of those apes to control themselves. What the fuck is wrong with you? Two, last time I checked, craft services is for cast members. Cast members like Buddha the acting orangutan. Sorry, just a fucking bummer. I shouldn't have brought it up in the first place.
Why'd you open your bunghole, you smelly hippie?
Back to the stupid portion of my argument, there's an interesting correlation between rubber tires and orangutans in Futurama.
Dr. Banjo?
Dr. Banjo didn't inherit that tire.
Hang on. Coming around.
In fact, we know it was just recently delivered, which is the only other time we see a large count of old-timey based tire cars. But the cars and tires weren't for driving.
The new office chairs are here.
Just look at the lot they're being parked in. There's nowhere for them to go. In fact, we see later that the cars being driven on Simian 7 are all just hover cars like on Earth. Well, most of Earth, apparently, because despite the fact that it was a big deal for Fry to find an old Volkswagen van,
What's that? One of those Led Zeppelins I've heard so much about?
people in Mississippi are just casually driving around that exact same model of Jefferson Starship. Some of these cars look like they're just rotoscoped in, like the blue car that's clearly a Crown Vic and this 90s era Jeep Cherokee. Is it a big deal? No, as I've explained with beef, not really. But it does feel a bit lazy to me. Not because I think it might be rotoscoped, television animation pipeline is what it is. At least we're not dealing with AI generation in Futurama yet. No, when I say lazy, I mean it's bad attention to detail. And having cars in Mississippi is not only poor universe building, it's also a missed opportunity. Maybe it's just me, but I think it's funnier if every single car in Scampton County is a hover car except the sheriff's. As it stands, the Planet Express car and the sheriff just bob and weave through traffic like a normal car chase. There's not much of a joke to it, and it doesn't exactly scream Futurama. But if you turn all of those cars into hover cars. Now you not only have two-wheeled cars ducking and weaving through hover traffic, which is already kind of silly on its face, but it's also an opportunity for novel visual gags. Like I said, it seems a little nitpicky, and it is. I mostly liked both episodes, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. What I'm mostly saying is I'd like to see them play more in the Futurama space, especially when it's just in the background. Maybe this was a weird way to frame it, but I just had to spin my wheels a bit to get the thought out.
Round wheels!
So Futurama's back, and so am I. Sorry it's not a big, deep dive philosophical thought piece, but the last time I did a video about the multiverse, Futurama immediately dropped an episode with more information about that very subject. So we'll hold off on any deep dives until the season is over, but in the meantime, we'll see what we can talk about with the episodes we get.
The citronella gave me an idea.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.